Hello students, this is your English teacher Mrs. Haimavati from LPSAVANI VIDHYABHAVAN. Students, today we will start with a new chapter that is bringing up Kari. Here in this lesson, Kari is a 5 months old baby elephant who was brought up by the 9 years old boy. So Kari is the name of the elephant, and why the lesson name is given as bringing up Kari, because here the author, who is 9 years old, he was given with a baby elephant of 5 months, and this elephant was brought up by the author. So now let's start with the lesson. Kari the elephant was 5 months old when he was given to me to take care of. I was 9 years old and I could reach his back if I stood on tiptoe. He seemed to remain that high for nearly 2 years. We grew together. That is probably why I never found out just how tall he was. He lived in a pavilion under a thatched roof which rested on thick tree stumps so that it could not fall in when Kari bumped against the poles as he moved about. So here, when Kari was given to the author, I means here I refers to the author. So when Kari was given to the author, he was that is 5 months old. So when the author was 9 years old, his height would reach Kari's back if he stood on the tip of his toe. They both grew together and they were also very good friends. If you see in the picture, students, Kari lived in a large open structure tent. Okay, if you see in this picture, Kari lived in a large open structure tent and its roof was covered with straw. It was supported with thick tree stumps so that it will not fall whenever Kari hit against these poles whenever he moves around. So these are the, so here in this, if you see the picture, this tent is supported with the tree stumps, and they were so strong that even if Kari move around and hit the stumps, it will not fall down. Okay. So next is, one of the first thing Kari did was to save the life of a boy. Kari did not eat much, but he nevertheless needed 40 pounds of twigs a day to chew and play with. Every day I used to take him to the river in the morning for his bath. He would lie down on the sand bank while I rubbed him with the clean sand of the river for an hour. After that, he would lie in the water for a long time. On coming out, his skin would be shining like ebony, and he would squeal with pleasure as I rubbed water down his back. Then I would take him by the ear, because that is the easiest way to lead an elephant, and leave him on the edge of the jungle while I went into the forest to get some luscious twigs for his dinner. One has to have a very sharp hatchet to cut down these twigs. It takes half an hour to sharpen the hatchet, because if a twig is mutilated, an elephant will not touch it. So, in this story, if you see, Kari saved the life of a boy. Kari did not eat much, but it needs 40 pounds of twigs. Okay, twigs means the tender branches of the trees. So, Kari needs 40 pounds of twigs a day in order to chew and play. Every day, the narrator take him to the river in the morning for his bath. Kari liked to be rubbed by the author with the clean sand for an hour. After that, he lies in the water for a long time. So when it comes out, its body shines like ebony. Ebony means a dark color wood. Kari enjoys his bath. Then the author would take Kari by holding his ears, because this is the way he can make the elephant move. Okay, so he used to hold his ears so that he can leave him on the edge of the jungle, and the narrator can go into the forest to get some tasty twigs. Luscious means tasty. Tasty twigs for his dinner. So the boy or the author requires a sharp hatchet to cut down these twigs. A hatchet means a small axe, and he used to sharp that axe, that is sharp that axe so that he would be able to cut the twigs in proper manner, because Kari doesn't like multilated twigs. Multilated twigs means which are not properly shaped, or which are very awkward and disfigured. Okay, so actually Kari like to have twigs which are very tender, and which are very tender means soft. It was not an easy job to get twigs and saplings for Kari. I had to climb all kinds of trees to get the most delicate and tender twigs. As he was very fond of the young branches of the banyan tree, which grows like a cathedral of leaves and branches, I was gathering some one spring day in March, when I suddenly heard Kari calling to me in the distance. As he was still very young, the call was more like that of a baby than an elephant. I thought somebody was hurting him. So I came down from my tree and ran very fast to the edge of the forest where I had left him, but he was not there. So here it was not an easy task to get twigs and saplings for Kari, because the author had to climb all kinds of trees to get the most delicate and the tender twigs. Kari was very fond of young branches of the banyan tree. One day in the month of March, when the author was collecting twigs, he could hear Kari calling him in the distance. He thought that somebody was hurting him. So he came down from the tree and started running towards the edge of the forest where he had left him. But Kari was not present there. So where was Kari? Let's see. I looked all over, but I could not find him. So the author looked here and there, but he could not find Kari. I went near the edge of the water and I saw a black something struggling above its surface. Then it rose higher, and it was the trunk of my elephant. I thought he was drowning. I was helpless because I could not jump into the water and save the 400 pounds of him, since he was much higher than I. But I saw his back rise above the water, and the moment he caught my eye, he began to trumpet and struggle up to the shore. Then, still trumpeting, he pushed me into the water, and as I fell into the stream, I saw a boy lying flat on the bottom of the river. He had not altogether touched bottom, but was somewhat afloat. I came to the surface of the water to take my breath, and there Kari was standing, his feet planted in the sandbank and his trunk stretched out like a hand waiting for mine. I dived down again and pulled the body of the drowning boy to the surface, but not being a good swimmer, I could not swim ashore, and the slow current was already dragging me down. So here, if you see, students, when the author went near the edge of the water, he could see the back of the elephant. So the author sees the trunk on the surface of the water, thinking that Kari is drowning. So author felt helpless, but right after Kari's back rose above the water, he pushed the author into the stream. So he found himself to be very helpless to save Kari. But actually when he reached near Kari, that Kari pushed the author into the stream. In the water, the author could see a boy lying flat on the bottom of the river. Then the author realized that Kari wanted to save the life of a boy. That is the reason Kari pushed the author into the stream. The boy was lying on the bottom of the river. So when Kari pushed the author, he dived and pulled the body of the drowning boy. So when Kari pushed the author, he quickly dived inside and he pulled the body of the drowning boy. Not being a good swimmer, the author could not swim ashore and the slow current was dragging him down. So, from here we can see that the author was not a good swimmer. So, next what happened? Seeing us drift by in the current, Kari, who was usually slow and ponderous, suddenly darted down like a hawk and came halfway into the water, where I saw him stretch out his trunk again. I raised up my hand to catch it and it slipped. I found myself going under the water again, but this time I found that the water was not very deep, so I sank to the bottom of the river and doubled my feet under me, and then suddenly kicked the river bed and so shot upwards like an arrow, in spite of the fact that I was holding the drowning boy with my hand. As my body rose above the water, I felt a lasso around my neck. This frightened me. I thought some water animal was going to swallow me. I heard Kari squealing and I knew it was his trunk about my neck. He pulled us both ashore. So here if you see in the picture how Kari and the author tried to save the life of the boy who was drowning. So in this picture it is clearly mentioned that Kari, with the help of his trunk, is trying to save the author as well as the drowning boy. So seeing the author and the boy drift means carried slowly with the help of the current. Kari, who was slow and ponderous means clumsy because of the weight of Kari, suddenly darted down like a hawk. So even though Kari was slow and clumsy due to its heavy weight, still it darted down just like a hawk. Hawk is a kind of bird, and came halfway into the water and stretched out his trunk again so that the author will catch it. So he stretched his trunk so that the author will catch its trunk, but he slipped again and again. Due to the current, they were slipping down. But when his body rose above the water, the author felt Kari's trunk as a lasso. Lasso means rope with a nose around his neck. So the author got frightened whether it is a what is this? It is the hand of a or it is just like a animal, water animal, which is going to swallow the author. Okay, so that's why the author was frightened. The author felt Kari's trunk as a lasso around his neck. He got frightened, but finally the author caught when he came to know that it is the trunk of Kari. So the author caught his trunk and Kari pulled both the author and that boy ashore. This was how Kari saved the life of boy who was drowning in the river.